This is Gerald Johan van Waas and the educational channel that will provide you some extra um, information or demonstrations in regard to the sound informed theory, which is about the underlying letter combinations and letter meanings. There's a meaningful structure of logic behind this, and this is described in these books that you can see. I never gave much attention in the videos to the volume 2 or the application of the word, but I will do so now, because knowing the meaning of letters and sounds can help you also to understand certain scripts and certain and other languages. I didn't find connection to all the languages. Maybe I'm just a bit lazy, but I have discovered some languages and some scripts that that I think are very easy to analyze and to understand, also with the letter combinations and the letter meanings. One of these languages is and scripts are related with Japanese. And even though I'm not speaking Japanese, I analyzed the scripts and I checked it with my theory, and they have a certain match that makes it more easy for me to understand the underlying meanings and interconnections. And in my book, I have several subjects there that are probably interesting for the readers, but I'm not going to talk about them. So I also analyzed the ancient origins of Japanese scripts as if they are two letter signs, and where there is a true balance between the elements, and they also fit in the scheme of the year cycle. They describe circumstances very well, almost like they pinpoint all kinds of circumstances during the year, like a yin and yang system. That's one of the things that I investigated there. But there you can have the two letter words origins, the possible origins there already, or one of these are the origins. I also investigated the patterns themselves of the two scripts in the katakana and the hiragana scripts. And they are also patterns that are also fitting with the sounds meaning, so that is also very interesting. Another thing that I also investigated are patterns that are used in the moon cycle, the 28-day moon cycle, which they used in a kind of astrological system. The system itself, it's more with a Chinese script, so that's the other origin, is also showing how this order that is found in astrology comes forth from the order itself, the pattern recognition, and they make actually the stars and star systems fit with that system in a way that you can find the correct references at the correct time, when circumstances on the earth, mostly with the sun and the moon and the earth in these rhythm are found, and you can recognize them, and then there is a system of logic that follows the same kind of order. So there are orders that are also of a natural order that you can also find in astrology, but they're also based upon pattern recognition, just as the letters, the scripts, and the sounds distinctions fit within a certain order of logic. But this is too much to explain now. In this video I will show you some words that you can understand thanks to the meaning of letters and sounds that I explained more often, the sound informed theory. At the same time I will also show you how the script themselves fit with the letter combinations. And I will also deal with how in the background there still is this Chinese system. The original system was based upon the Chinese script and about the whole way of thinking around it. That's why you can see on the cover these 4 squares are also the 4 seasons. They also the old rhythms that are fitting within that system and in the perspective that we deal in reality in certain processes in a certain order to finalize any kind of processes that we associate. It's a kind of logic that makes it easy for us to think with. It's easy to find the balance with, and we always deal with that. And in the Chinese script, they are very much into this system of order. And the Japanese script and thinking fits with that as well. Okay, but that's enough. I will have some examples that will be clear and it will not be difficult. I think they're not difficult. And the words themselves are not difficult. The words are very short, and I have difficulties in remembering words or understanding words, especially in like in Japanese as well, that are longer words. Of course, with these 2-letter combinations, you have a lot of combinations. Where is the beginning? Where is the end? Where is the center, and so on? I don't see it yet in longer words, but the shorter words they make sense enough to me that I can understand them also from the sounds and letter combinations how we perceive them in the West. And they fit and they match. So I will explain nani or what, itsu or when, dore or who, dore or which, doko or where, and ikura or how much. Sorry if I don't pronounce it perfectly, but I'm talking in English right now, so forgive me if the pronouncements are not so well, but the principles will be correct. If not, please tell me. But I base myself upon my theory, and I find a recognition in what I find elsewhere. Just listen to what I want to say. Every question in the questions, in the sentences in Japanese, you can hear ka then in the end as you can hear already. Okay, your sentence is about a question. You have an opening at the end. The ka opens it up, and the ka is also this letter. This letter, as you can see, fits very much with this figure. And it also refers a bit to the sword fighting. It is actually this attitude, because behind a whole system is also a system of an attitude of making a balance. So you start from a balance, and you go and you adapt in the world, whatever happens, and you find in a Confucian way your balance by adapting. And this whole system shows this balance. All these letters shows this balance. You can recognize in this kanji, as they call it, in this script, in this letter of ka, that this is it is also about someone who is ready to go for the battle, for the ready to attack, let's say, but he's also ready for the how do you say that, it's the conflicts of life. So you can, there is a conflict situation, something needs to change. We know that already in the sound informed theory. Ka is a moment where we have a situation where something needs to change. So we have to do something. We don't know yet what it is. It's the first part of our question. We have no clue what we are going to have to do, what we need to do, but in this system of logic in the Chinese and the Japanese script, there is a system of balance. There's a yin and yang in it. And I will explain it how you go from the ka open question with which is nothing but the tool, like the sword. The sword itself can be very destructive. Ka itself can be a very destructive word. But if you use the tool correctly, you can make the sword as a sword of distinction. It's the same as you have the system of Islam also, is the struggle, is the war system, if you see it from that angle. But the sword is also the sword of distinction. You can also, it depends who is using it. Do you use it for making war? Do you make it for conflict? Then you don't, then you're using or abusing the tool. It's you and your foundation, your attitude is much more important than the tool. The tool, if you use it incorrectly, you will make destruction. You will make things worse. So no, you have to make it as distinction. So here you can see on the 4 squares of the 4 seasons the person who is in balance, the green arrow there, and he will, like an attack, go to somewhere else, to the unknown. And the unknown is this red balance, that's the new balance, with its own gravity. So what will it do? It will go towards that new point. It will move itself towards this new order, and it doesn't know what the solution will be. But the solution will be that it always has an involvement of a new gravity point. You have your own gravity point, but the new thing has its own gravity point as well. In the larger religions, they mostly forget the going back to the balance. It is not very well worked out, or at least not so much worked out as you have it in the Confucian system, in the Chinese system of yin and yang balance. It's there, so you have to find balance. In the Aikido, I found it very well that it's also always about balance. You can sense this balance. You can take someone out of balance, or you will be taken out of balance if your balance is not very good. So you have an attitude, that the attitude is not just I will remain on my place and I will never move and I will never adapt. Then you will not make distinctions in life. You will not get intelligence in life. You will not progress. You will not adapt something new. Here it is about adaptation. When you really need an adaptation, you have to submit to the unknown, to the gravity of other things. Go towards the gravity of these things, and you have to roll in it. Who will be the winner or the strongest person is simply what is the strongest thing which has the strongest gravity. The gravity of what is real, the gravity of what is intelligent, the gravity of what is progress. That's much more important than your gravity. So here I have the unknown, the ka, which is now given a very good question, the nani. Nani is the question what. And this is actually, as you can see already, how this kanji or symbol, let's say, expresses this very well. You're ready to engage yourself with your own gravity point. You move towards somewhere else, and you roll into the gravity of reality, into the what you need to do and what you need to dig into, so that you can find a solution in your new work field center of attention. Your gravity is not the center of attention, it's the attention to the work, to what you have to learn, to what you have to adapt. That's the center field of attention. And if I simply translate it into the sound in form expressions, you have the N into A, into N, into I. So it means you have something that has to be filled in into a physical result, which is its own center, where something is again filled in. So it has physical consequences how it has been filled in. Something new will be filled in. If just by filling things in, filling new things in, it will also have the consequence that maybe it will have to adapt somewhere. That's more or less what it does. The nani is the, so you define a physical object that have to be filled in, and this receives also its own meaningful filling. What is really filled in here? What is really filled in? You have to experience this. Nani is actually more or less the question, the opposite word of in, an. In, so you insert it, so the solution is you insert this, and an, you find Anschluss, or you find a connection, and that's what the goal is from nani. What do you need? It's actually that's more saying as what do you need really? What nani? What do you need? In, an finds the solution. Compare now to man. With the man itself, he will try to grasp. He wants to grasp this new element. It will have its own gravity. All things will have its gravity of things. By nani, you have the correct attitude. You engage yourself with your own gravity of everything what you think, or your foundation of who you are, but you still direct towards the other, but you use a working field to fill in. It's also trying to find this kind of balance. It's the attitude and the desire to fill in what is of need in the working field of observation. And this field of observation has its own unknown destination. It's not filled in, it's only filled in by engaging yourself in the process of filling it in. That's the nani. What is it? What do I need? It's a good question to ask yourself. What do I need? Not just I need that. No, what do I need? That's the attitude which is needed. That is the good question to receive something. The second question, the second Japanese question that I investigate is itsu, or when. It's actually a question for the timing. And here I will analyze the letters, the Japanese letters, the I and the tsu. The I, you can recognize how there are two sections. I will start with the first part, the I. I pronounce it. I will, in the sound inform theory, I always use the same kind of puzzle most of the time, and the tsu I already explained there as well. But let's analyze the I first. The I here is actually in two parts. You have the question again. The question, you have a need, you feel a need to change something. That's the I. The I is always the new thing. So here you feel the need, there is a new thing that is needed. I sense something. This is my inner fire. I sense that something needs to change. And the second part, it's like the small I, that's like the impulse. I will find the impulse to change. I will find what will make the change. That's what is coming in. That's the connection. That's the connection what is made. These two parts, they you can understand them by this explanation. And this I will always try to find an application. That's what the I sound is doing. Tsu also can be recognized in the symbol, in the kanji of tsu. It's the connection that you find. So there's a connection that you find. In the T there is a certain effect that it will create, and there's an opening there. So you have the tsu, the parts which are recognizable in the kanji, and then that's how you can remember it, tsu. And in the meaning of letters, it is the T is the distinction with a counter effect, so with a certain correct timing based upon the fluctuations of its counter effect, so that we can gradually learn to fill it in. The U is something which is gradually evolving, so that's how you can analyze it. So I want to make a distinction of a right timing, a right effect. So which effect is the best? So which moment is the best? And how can I gradually fill it in? That's actually itsu. That's described in the letter combinations, not much more than that. But there are I found two different meanings of itsu, sorry if I'm not very good in pronouncing, but I understand what it's behind it. So in both words, meanings, there is the same reference. The slight difficulty, actually the difficulty especially for Chinese script and language, is that the sounds alone, they don't matter so much. Especially for Chinese it's not. If you have the sounds alone, you have no clue what the words are about. Every sound combinations, or sounds combinations, let's say, yeah, are connected also with an image or with a reference point or a context. So they immediately already have a context, and you have to guess the context by the context. And what helps are the scripts. The scripts actually say which context there is, and then the sounds are actually the directions in the context. Here you have the kanjis for which, so which moment. What do I need to know the moment? That's what it actually says. But the same word also means relaxing. Now, in a way you would say, yeah, relaxing or what moment is it? Have nothing to do with each other. It's a completely different meaning. No, it is the same meaning as an original in sound. The sounds themselves do the same thing. In both cases, it asks you for the moment to be filled in. Itsu, you want to fill in the right moment. You want to know the right moment. In the second symbol of relaxing, you can see that the moments that you receive, let's say the soil where you can have all the results, it's broken open. It's completely open, so you have all the time of the world. You have no action to change anything as needed. All the things are possible, so it checks out fine. All moments are fine. So which moment? So you still ask your question, which moment? But all the moments are okay. So in the first case, it remains a question. In the second case, it also is a question, but in a way you say, okay, it's just it's almost like an intonation difference. You still ask the question, but you already say like, oh, no worries, yeah, all's fine. So it checks out fine. All moments are fine. So which moment? The moment. It's great. Go for the moment. And if you want to change it into letter significations, I is I want to fill in. T is a distinction. S is this timed effect, and U is what can be filled in towards a certain progress. So I want to fill in what I want to distinguish at a certain with a certain right time, good timing. Let's say that it has a good effect, so that I will have a good effect. That can make things progress further. You see how you can understand it from the letter combinations themselves. Next question is dare compared with dore, compared with doko. Sorry for the wrong pronunciation. I just see it as an English lesson, not as a Japanese lesson. The D itself is I explained it many times before. It gives you, it's a moment of distinction, but it is also taking a while to adapt towards the correct distinction. So it takes it a while to adapt. That's always what it does. The D. Da with the A will clearly go to the so where it will lead to a real thing, to a real focus, to a real new center focus, where you will have to adapt to. Compared to Do, the O is always environment. It's much wider. It refers that you adapt to something which is much larger. It's a whole, it's a place, it's an environment. And now I will compare with the second part of the word. I will add re. Re is I make a connection to what will have an evolution of its own. With da, could be, it could be an object at certain points, but with re, that it evolves further, it's, let's just see it more abstract. The A is always a center. So if you go from our center to a new center, so D is going from our center point of view to a new center, it's the same way of saying I will adapt to another center. I will adapt to someone else. And with the re, I will try to make connections in its own evolution process, let's say. So dore is dare is with emphasis on a. Dare is focusing on not just the other center, but actually also to someone else. So it is who I'm. It refers to who, someone who has its own process of experiences, of process of evolution, and so on. That's why the re fits well. Dore is of course much wider. It's the environment is connected. So a larger context is connected. So it's no longer about someone's own center. It's what is also connected there around that center. So it is more fitting with the meaning of which. So what is still, it's also connected with another center. If you explain it with letter meanings. So which context you can connect to. With who you also actually sometimes say dare gaat, but again you connect with a question, you connect to what can I do in this area of what this person is involved in. Dore, I already explained, then is then related with the larger context around it. And you still have doko. Do we know already is place. The ko is again place, so it's especially not just environment, it's really place. So it's, and the ka again is this question mark. So you have, in fact, you have a way of saying do is, that's a bit the same as there in English. It's do is referring to moved play. You move towards a certain place of significance, where with ko combined you ask a question there. So you also say, what kind of place? What kind of place do I have? What is this distinctive place? And doko means where. So the last word, ikura, is how much. You see here the I, I also see here the ku, and you can also easily recognize the letter. The letter is almost exactly like the Latin letters. It's the K, it's the breaking apart, and the U is the openness. So we have here ku. It's also, again, very easily to remember if you know the letter meanings, which also fit with the Japanese. Ikura makes, of course, a connection within this breaking point. The R makes connections, it makes connections on time, it also makes connections with time processes that also have variations or intervals. As you can see, you can translate it as I, so it's to be filled in, ku, to distinguish what is the open or still to be filled in values, and Ra is to be connected to time framed intervals. So you can already recognize slightly that it is related with values that vary a little bit, and that you want to distinguish and you want to fill them in. You can recognize it already in the forms here. So you want to fill in what has a depending distinction, so, what is still interconnected, as you can see here. So what do we have here as resume? I will still make a last resume. What did we learn today? 6 questions we learned today. I hope these kinds of reference points that I add to the learning of another language as meaningful letter meanings and letter combinations. It's a different method. It's a slower method, but you know much better what it's underlying and what is the same thing as in every, I would say every language, but at least in our languages, let's say then, these connections use the same values. What can we remember? We have nani or what, as you can see, it's the basic question. Nani, easy to understand, is the opposite of in an. We've tried to find out what we have to fill in. What? Itsu, or when, just something that you can help you, is the su, the s, the fluctuation fluctuation circumstances. So that is referring to itsu. So you fill in the distinction of fluctuating circumstances. So it is about when are, or how are these circumstances, you could say as well. Dore is who, and you can remember it better by remembering that da is trying to adapt to a different center, and with the re you make a connection to it, and this different center is someone else here. So dare is who. Dore, the o, is wider, it's the environment, it's already decentralized then, but you still have the connection, so you make connections which are still surrounding the other center. So which? Doko is with 2 times the O, you can recognize more easily, and the K is the breaking apart. So it's about the questioning, the distinction, and D is move. So you move. You see here move. You see here environment. You see or place. So it is easy to recognize. You adapt to another environment to distinguish it. So it's where. Ikura, or is how much, so the I to fill in, ku, the open values, ra, add the useful moments. You want to fill in values that make sense for you at moments, at certain moments where you recognize. So ikura is associated with how much. Hopefully you can understand the words now slightly in a different way as you had before, from the viewpoint of the letter meanings. Especially for those people who speak Japanese, feel free to comment on these videos. I'm open to suggestions. I hope to learn the languages a bit better than this. This is just the beginning, but at least I know what the letter combinations are, and I recognize certain things. That's all what I do. I recognize certain things. So in that way, I'm open to suggestions if I would look certain things, please tell me. Anyhow, thanks for watching. This was Gerald van Waas again. It's a long video, but okay, there were some more explanations to do to be sure that I was complete in my explanations. There's a website too, and you can subscribe to the YouTube channel for more instructions. More soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.